Just getting ready to go on a bit of a expedition tomorrow morning. We've got a choice of Teslas. What a luxury. We actually really wanted to take Evie here. We haven't done any really long trips in her yet, only up to Sydney and back from Canberra. My mum has just bought this Model Y. She's had it for about a month and is absolutely loving it. I should tell you where we're going. We're going to Lucindale, South Australia. It's about a bit over 1100 k's, I think. Obviously we're going to go in the Y because it's bigger, and Mum would not, I don't think she would forgive us if we didn't take her new baby. And so we'll leave at 5 o'clock and we're going to drive for a few hours to Holbrook. Some new V3 Superchargers there. We could go further, but we could make it to Albury, to the 16 bay V3/4 chargers, but it's sort of almost 4 hours and that's actually a bit too long. Another thing I just thought of that I should do now, let's reset trip A, so we can keep track of our total distance, energy, average.
We're on our way, yay!
We left dead on time, but we did the obligatory forget the phone and turn around to go and have to pick it up again. So this trip is over the Christmas break period to visit Camille's parents. Camille and I have done this trip quite a few times now, initially in the Subaru Forester, then in the Land Rover, then in our previous electric car, the MG ZS EV, but this is the first time we've done the trip in a Tesla. So we're quite interested to see how this trip goes compared to doing it in the MG. Our bladder range only lasted 1.5 hours, so we had to do a quick pit stop at Jugiong. Sit rep 6:32, and our bladders didn't make Holbrook. And ironically, we've stopped at Jugiong where there's a charger, fast charger, but because it's not a Tesla Supercharger, it's broken. Going past the broken NRMA tritium charger.
Holbrook, eh?
We've charged previously in Holbrook quite a few times in the MG on this old NRMA 50 kilowatt tritium charger. It now seems like a really old, outdated charger, being only 50 kilowatts, and it's sort of ridiculous that there's only one of them.
Hey Dick, you ready for some brekka?
Yeah.
Or maybe they redid the whole car park as part of the supercharger deal.
Well, they only bitumened it not long ago. Did 296 k's, 47 kilowatt hours, 157 watt hours per kilometre, and Mum's going to supercharge and I'm not going to tell her what to do because it's not very hard. So let's go.
Okay.
Mum's first supercharge.
Yeah, that's a nice charge.
And Elsie's first supercharge. Never been charged before. I'm not going to tell you anything, Mum. Oh, yeah. You've got the idea.
That's a bit too easy.
Push it in hard. Keep pushing. Yeah. And it should... Oh, there's a light there. So it'll flash blue when it's communicating, and green is all good and we're charging.
Excellent.
That's how easy it is. That's your first supercharge.
Hang on.
And then we can have a look. All right, it's ramping up. What speed are we going to get? We're getting 171 kilowatts. 1,226 kilometres an hour we're charging at. So, and it shows you here, it's estimating we need to charge for 25 minutes to get to Shepparton.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, we sort of want to stop longer than 25 minutes, so we'll let it charge a lot more than that anyway. And now we're on our way to breakfast. It's only a 5-minute walk down here. Had to go and get the digger dog after he got off the lead. Cheeky beagle, but he did come back fairly quick, so that was good. We had to... Digger came back pretty quick. We had to wait for Camille because she didn't know where he was. The Tesla app is so useful for doing this sort of thing. So, ready to continue trip, and we just got our coffees. One thing to know if you really want to do an EV trip in a hurry is you don't usually charge much above 80%. This is because the charge rate is very quick at low battery charge and slows right down at the top of the battery. We sort of broke that rule this time just because we were waiting on breakfast and not the car to charge. I haven't actually got breakfast yet. So you finished your breakfast, Elsie, and we haven't even got ours yet. It's not a huge weight on the old Superchargers. God, we could almost skip Shepherd and go to Bendigo. Another massive benefit we're finding with the Tesla over the MG is the integrated trip planning. So we could just get to Bendigo with 5%. So literally we could do this in 3 charges. I think you've had enough electrons for the moment, Elsie. Not much point hogging them. Push the button, stops it. Don't even have to close the charge port. Let's go and park the car where we're having brekkie. So it's a good spot, except it's actually not far at all. It's a block and a half from the eating places. Brekkie. You've had yours.
He's hoping for some more.
Elsie's had hers. She's over there digesting. Finished our breakfast. What's the time? Took longer than normal.
Yeah.
9:20. It's alright, it's the whole point. Mum's turn to drive. First long road trip for a long time. So we're going to try and get to Bendigo. Reckons we'll get there with 5%. With the Tesla trip planner, you can just put your final destination in and the car will both navigate there and add in any stops that you need to make. It's better than any other navigation system I've used. Just added a toilet stop along the way. Going to Violet Town, 11:15. I think we're up for at least a wee break and some sort of refreshment.
You want to get out for a bit?
204 k's, 156 watt-hours a kilometre. It seems to be about the average. The whole trip's been 157, so. What have you got there, Dick? Some wheelmails. It's an amazing tree. It's huge. And it's Camille's turn to drive.
My turn.
To Bendigo. Bendigo Supercharger, which is in 1 hour and 45 minutes. We're going through the middle, bypassing Euroa and Shepparton, and going straight to Bendigo. Charge there, bypassed all these other ones. At the moment, the Tesla trip planner only shows the Tesla Superchargers and not any third-party chargers. Previously, in the MG, we would use the PlugShare app to plan all our charging points. The Tesla can charge at all those third-party charging locations, but because the supercharger network is so good, we didn't find the need to use any of them.
Wanna ball blablin? Wanna bullabin? Wanna blablin?
Colbinabin. That was Colbinabin. Give it the beans.
Thank you.
Well, let's have a look. Climate, everything else, elevation, battery conditioning, climate, driving. Who's the lead foot? It's busy, they're waiting.
Yeah.
There's 6 stalls available for us.
Gosh, but just a social media post about how people have to wait for petrol houses.
To Bendigo Supercharger at lunchtime. These are older V2 Tesla Superchargers which will only charge at up to 125 kilowatts. So you don't want to share a stall in V2s. Looks good. There you go. Plug us in. 155 watt-hours per kilometre. Reckons we only need to charge for 20 minutes. Doing 126 kilowatts, which is max for a V2.
Do you want to just get some takeaway food and go down back by that lake?
Yeah. So we've got some takeaway lunch and some mince pies and a cuppa. And the car let us know it was ready to go already. So we'll unplug and go down to a nicer spot to have something to eat and give Digger Dog his treat, and we're ready to go. So Elsie's fans are going hard because we've just been supercharging, but we've got plenty of charge, so we've just come down to a nice little reserve. his favourite little thing. So when you dig a dog. And we've got some nice Vietnamese. Stop here and have lunch and then head to Horsham. 2:30, heading to Holbrook, which is 2.5 hours. Horsham, I always get them wrong.
It's like me with Goulburn and Bendigo.
Yeah, it's one of the H's. We stopped again briefly for a quick toilet break before heading to Horsham, which would be our last stop for the trip. And after another driver swap, we're in Horsham. Morning, hello. We're in Horsham, last charge stop. We've charged here 3 times before?
Horsham, I don't know, loads of times.
3?
No, more like 6, because like there and back every time.
But never at the Supercharger, obviously.
No.
Looking forward to getting out and having a stretch and doing a wee and getting a cold beverage.
I like to get a bottle of bubbles. I reckon it's bubbles time. Digger will need a little walkie walk, I think.
Digger needs to stretch his legs.
Yeah, he's been very good.
Oh, there's 2 other Teslas
hello.
there. Model S, Model 3.
Oh, it's crowded.
Let's charge her up. Sending the mandatory emails. Literally just got back to the car and car's ready. And I've got my creaming soda, so I'm happy.
Ready? Come on.
Interestingly, the car charged about 25% more than we needed. I'm thinking this is because Lucindale is basically a charger dead zone, and it was giving us a buffer just in case. Didn't make any difference in the end though, seeing as we weren't waiting for the car to finish charging. So, there's the stats for nerds. Got here at 25 past. Last leg, 163 watt hours a kilometre. It's not as efficient. The roads are a bit more frictiony here. So we did 1,052 kilometres. Averaged 156 watt hours a kilometre. We used 165 kilowatt hours. Very easy. After saying hello to Camille's parents in Lucindale, we did the final 15 kilometres to Camille's sister's place, which is where we'd be staying. Trip was 1,052 kilometres. Total time was 14 hours and 45 minutes. And of that, the driving time was 11 hours and 12 minutes. Because we were having quite a leisurely trip, our human break time was 3 hours and 33 minutes. Even though we weren't doing best charging practice as far as speed, that is charging at the bottom of the battery, we were never waiting for the car to charge because we were busy fueling ourselves. For interest's sake though, I added up the time the car was charging and it was 1 hour and 43 minutes total. And the most important figure on this is CO2 saved. In the Forester we would have used 105.2 litres. It uses 10 litres per 100 k's, and that would have produced about 250 kilos of CO2. Total charging costs for the trip were $97.22. This includes the initial charge up at home, which is about 7 cents a kilowatt hour from solar sacrificed, as opposed to 70 cents a kilowatt hour for supercharging. We're planning the next charge. Let's show chargers around here. There is nothing. We are in the biggest black hole of chargers. Although this is only showing superchargers. Actually, they've just put one at Narracourt, which I think is the closest one. And I think there's one at Kingston, but there's not a lot around here. So there's not a lot of fast charging around this area. Although compared to last time, there's now one at Narracourt and one at Kingston. You don't really need any external charging infrastructure if you've got a power point where you're staying. Power point. Another 10 amp power point. Yeah. Another 10 amp power point. Another 10 amp power point. 15 amp power point. 32 amp power point. So as an idea on how much charging you'll get for that, set it to 10 amps, but that'll give you 15 kilometers an hour. Set it for If it's 15 amp plug, that's 23 kilometers an hour. And if you turn it all the way up to 32, it's 51 kilometers an hour. Because my mum has 3-phase at home, she can take full advantage of the Tesla's 11 kilowatt onboard charger. 77 kilometers an hour, 78. Usually it's turned down a lot more so that we don't exceed the solar production. We can also take advantage of their battery. I don't think it can go past 5 kilowatts. I'll start. Here we go. Yeah, as soon as it went over 5 kilowatts, it started drawing from the grid. So let's turn down.
You don't want to do that.
Turn that down. Well, that's useful. During the week we were there, other than the normal family Christmas stuff, we enjoyed all the sights around Lucindale. All Camille's family now has EVs. Her mum and dad have a Hyundai Kona. Her sister has an MG ZS EV. And her brother in Alice Springs also has an MG ZS, as well as just receiving our old Nissan Leaf. Bull Lagoon is definitely a worthwhile attraction. Beehive hide. Might be able to get some honey.
No, they're all grey. Oh, there are some white face ones too. And then...
Oh, they're white ones. More delicious.
What a cool nest.
Yeah. The Sheep's Back Museum definitely has some interesting relics. Joanna.
Now turn right onto McDonald Street.
Oh, so you got two options.
Now turn left onto McDonald Street.
Might as well
Now
take the 12
turn
minute
right
option.
onto McDonald Street.
No.
Now turn left
No.
onto
Yeah,
McDonald
no.
Street. Now turn right onto McDonald Street.
Narracourt Caves is another essential place to visit. We also had to feed some fish at the local agricultural school.
So the wind's like this. It's really down the From here.
Trick 'em.
They're not very
They're probably all mulling around there, going, where is it? I thought I saw them.
Okay, well that was unsuccessful.
No, no more fish in here. There's a big one under there. I can see him coming up.
Yeah, Trouty.
Maybe all the bin chickens had a good breakfast.
Oh,
Oh, now they've finally got over there. Oh,
they were all down.
now they're confused.
And we're asleep.
They're probably having a conference in the middle going, well, normally we get fed here, but there seems to be food over here. What's going on?
Oh,
Is that a ploy?
Suspicious.
Is something happening? Are we getting tricked and taken out for food? Before long, it was time to head home. So we're heading off in the morning. Had a good holiday. Just thought I'd record some stats for nerds. We've done, pretty much done 500 Ks while we've been over here. So we're just topping it up. So it's 100% when we leave first thing in the morning. And yeah, away we'll go. So 5:39. We're heading out the gate.
9 minutes late.
Lots of bins. Still all free. As in, I'm sorry, still all available.
And emissions free.
And emissions free.
I'm excited about driving to work and back without paying anything this year.
Yeah. Sharing with anyone?
No one there.
I don't mind sharing. No Tesla bin, is it? Is that what it says?
Not a Tesla bin.
I don't like Tesla drivers using that bin.
How weird.
Right.
Don't put your Tesla in the bin.
Not a Tesla bin. Exactly 200 Ks. Charging. Still not 170 kilowatts. That's because we're at 39% already. Trip. We're going to go have some brekkie. Estimated charge time 30 minutes. Because I've put in Shepparton, it's a fairly long next trip. And we've got 15 minutes to continue trip. Quick, finish your cuppa. We'll just have to grab our breakfast and put it in our pockets and run. Just got brekkie, and the car's got 5 minutes. It's almost full. So I reckon we can do this. I reckon I can do it. I'm gonna go back and get the car. Sort of gulped down breakfast. A Tesla driver breakfast, just gulp it down. We have enough energy to continue the trip. I'm just gonna pick up Mum and Camille from down the road. Just dribbling breakfast water everywhere, Dick. Shepparton it is. 3 hours 43. Satisfied, Dick? Had your morning meal. You got a little bit of ham from the Eggs Benedict.
Just go for it. Overtake this guy.
That is quite a lot of leg room. Yeah, how much knee room I've got. Like, I could fit a bag in here. I could put my legs fully straight.
Yeah.
And Digger's got heaps of room. He's spread right out, aren't you, Dig? Ropping you up.
We stopped here a few times, haven't we, Dig? Gone for little walks in this park.
The box there, and then
And I've got
had a
lunch
coffee
from
there. Aussie pub in the scrub.
Oh, normally I would have been on PlugShare checking if anyone was charging.
Yeah.
So that's the charger rail lane. Oh yay, BYD!
Oh no, this is Inglewood.
That's where we would
Oh, well.
normally stop to charge.
That's the advantage of not having to charge. We would have to wait for that car to finish.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the only one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they haven't checked in, which is a bit naughty. Especially for a single charge thing. Like if we needed to charge, it's like, oh, I wonder how long they're going to be.
I mean, I guess.
So in a non-Tesla, it's basically essential to have the PlugShare app in order to find fast chargers. It's also really good practice to check in on the app to let other drivers know that you're using the charger and how long you're going to be. So this is Bridgewater on Loddon.
Or is it Bridgewater?
Just Bridgewater. Probably.
Just
Bridgewater. No,
There's
it's
two.
Bridgewater on Loddon, it
Isn't it
says.
Bridgewater and then Bridgewater on Loddon?
Well, that says Bridgewater on Loddon. After a couple of hours, we needed a break. We've stopped here on previous trips, but have never seen it this busy before. Super busy at that cafe, super popular. So we're just going to drive and eat on the way. Getting to Shepparton at 1:15. Yeah, got to get the right speed to get enough cleaning, but not too much. There'd recently been a lot of rain in this area, causing flooding problems.
Yeah, go Dig. Hold on, Dig. Whoop.
I'll get the high level overtaking.
No, you're not naughty, you're just naughty behaviour.
The instant torque characteristics of an electric car make overtaking so much fun. Charging. Stats for nerds. Did 321, 51 kilowatt hours. Not too bad efficiency. Done over 2,000 k's now on this trip. So, estimated charge time 15 minutes. It's too fast. Cool to see a C40 charging. The Shepparton Superchargers are more superchargers that Tesla have opened to non-Tesla drivers. As usual, the car would charge faster than we'd be able to get our food. 17 past 1 and we're walking to lunch. Again, 1:32 and we're already ready to continue the trip. We only need 69% to get to Holbrook. And yet again, we managed to get our drinks but not food yet.
Mum said she fed the school fish this morning, but no fish came to feed in the dam.
It's going to be another 100% charge, even though we don't need it. Ooh, it's lovely and cool in here. I'm going to go park it near where we're having lunch, which is just here. So it's not tying up the supercharger. Left the aircon on while we were charging. Mum wanted to keep her medications cool, and it's lovely in the car, getting in the nice cool car. Heading out of Shepparton after lunch.
Pretty much an hour stop, wasn't it?
Yeah. busy in there. Brook in 20 minutes. 8 minutes actually.
Now take the Old Hume Highway exit on the left.
Old Hume Highway exit. The petrol station's always busy. It's waiting again, same as last time. That's the original Model S, an early one. Pretty well.
Look at all the green.
Yeah. Let's plug her in. Yeah. Diggy dog, I'd like you to stay on the lead. So ramping up. Ramping. We're only at 37%, so still pretty good at 38%. Well, I've only got 20 minutes charge time here. This is a nice beast. An early. I think this is a like a performance one. Yeah, it's a P85. We'll keep the car cool while we're charging. Now 5 minutes. Camille's just getting iced coffees and bread. Again, for the final time, Elsie's ready before we are. Literally we are, because we're doing the wee. Not really an issue travelling at Christmas, is it? Lovely and cool in here. Again, we've charged more than we needed. What have we got? No, we're up to 99%. Pretty much charged till full every single time.
3. Can I claim it's not here yet?
I don't know, it's dubious. Oh, here comes the rush. Here comes the Christmas rush. Quick, we've got to go. It's terrible charging practice for speed. Thank you, Holbrook. 5 free now on the dog on the tunnel box.
Oh. We stopped too early. Looks like they're a bit light on for fuel. They only had prices for diesel and auto gas.
Right. 59 minutes. Oh, we're home. There's our driveway. It's a bit of it, so I'm going to be going to fix it anyway.
I'll just stand on the ladder. Hello, Big Roo.
Alright, 8:05 and 2,591 kilometres. We'd all really enjoyed the trip, and I was super impressed by how easy it was to do in the Tesla. So let's look at the stats for the trip from Lucindale to Womboyne. Distance driven was slightly less because we avoided Bendigo. The total trip time was also less at 13 hours and 56 minutes. This was in part to the driving time being a little bit less. We saved 19 minutes by avoiding Bendigo, and our human brake time was half an hour less. Again, we didn't spend any time waiting for the car to charge. The total time the car was charging was 2 hours and 18 minutes, which was 35 minutes longer than the trip over there. This shows how the charge time didn't make any difference to the total trip time, which was actually quicker. All 3 charges were to 100%. So this also demonstrates how it takes significantly longer charging the car to 100%. CO2 saved was about 1/4 of a tonne, and charging cost was virtually identical. So let's look at the stats for the entire trip. 2,591 kilometres. We saved around 620 kilos of CO2. Total cost for charging was $197.16. The cost for the supercharging there and back. And while we were there, we did as best we could to charge on solar and battery. So I've put that down as 7.5 cents a kilowatt hour. So if we'd gone over in the Forester, which we have multiple times before, the cost for that whole trip in petrol would have been $487 based on the average fuel price, $1.88 a litre. Saved about $290 in fuel savings. So as I said previously, we've done this trip multiple times. Originally in the Forester, done it in the Land Rover. Then when we got the MG ZS EV, we did it in that. And then this trip, first time in a Tesla. So I want to do a comparison on doing this road trip compared to how we used to do it in the Forester. And I want to compare it to how we used to do it in the MG. Because they're 3 totally different vehicles. The Forester's obviously petrol powered. Tesla and the MG are both EVs. But there's a big difference between a Tesla and pretty much every other EV as well. So the first difference with doing the trip in the Forester is you've got an initial advantage in that you can fully charge the car the night before you go on the trip. With the Forester, I mean, you sort of literally can't leave your home with it full because you have to get back from the petrol station first. So our petrol station's 20 k's away. I mean, it's sort of hard to say how you do it. You'd probably fill it up on your way home from work the day before. You might not bother filling it. I don't know, but there is an initial advantage. The other advantage, or the other difference, you don't really have to actively spend time charging it. What I'm saying there is, so in the Forester going to South Australia, we would have to stop twice to fill with fuel. I mean, that only takes at least 5 minutes, but probably not much more than 5 minutes each time. So I guess it's 10 minutes. It's not a big deal, but it is still something you have to spend time doing. Charging on Supercharger network is a lot easier. Activating the chargers, you just get out and plug it in. The car sends its VIN number to the charger and it charges the Tesla account. It's so easy. As opposed to non-Tesla chargers, Chargefox, Evie, first you need to set up an account with them. It's not too much, you have to do it once, it's not a big deal. But then to activate the charger, you can either just go into the app, find the charger, find the right charge store and activate it, or we found much easier just to get a card and just swipe the card. That was fairly convenient with the card. The app, a bit more stuffing around. I mean, you got to say that's a lot easier than filling up with fuel too. Going in to pay with a credit card, I mean, we're used to doing it, so we think it's not a hassle, but plugging in a Tesla is a lot easier than going in and filling up with fuel. In an EV, yeah, it takes longer to charge it. You can't charge it in 5 minutes, but you incorporate the charging with the times you want to have a break. So for us doing a bit over 1,000 Ks, we literally didn't spend any time waiting for the car to charge. So the MG, we were waiting for it to finish charging. That was fine because we weren't in a hurry, but definitely not as convenient as the Tesla. So this trip, the goal wasn't to get there as quick as we could. It was to enjoy the trip over there. My mum, was with us. We didn't want to force her to, no, you have to go, we have to go now, we need to get there. I think next time we do it, we'll do it in Evie here, we probably want to see how fast we can do it. We're not going to be total hardcore, we want to enjoy the trip still, but usually we sort of just want to get over there. So we would actually do it a bit differently. We would spend a lot less time sitting down having breakfast and eating. We would basically just try and charge the car at the bottom of the battery so it's really quick. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much quicker we can do this trip. So I was speaking to Camille about when she used to drive over in the Forester, and she just wants to get there to see her parents, which is totally understandable. Still need to stop, still want to have something to eat. She said she'd usually do the trip in about 13 hours in the Forester. So before doing this trip, I knew it's going to be easier in the Tesla than doing it in the MG. I didn't realise how quick the car would charge. To be honest, I always thought, well, it's going to be pretty unlikely that we would be able to do a trip like that in the same sort of time we'd do it in the Forester in a petrol car. But after doing the trip, I totally changed my mind on that. I think we can easily do it in the same amount of time. So it doesn't seem any more convenient in the Forester. Charging speed was also a non-issue. It charged faster than we could eat, and we didn't follow best charging practices for speed. Also is the efficiency of the car. The Model Y, it seemed to be, for most of the trip, it was averaging 156 watt hours per kilometre, which is really good for that. That's more important than you think. Obviously that saves you money in charging costs, but charging costs aren't much anyway. It actually increases charge speed quite a lot. So when we used to do the trip in the MG, to me the biggest constraint was the charging speed. Maximum charging speed is 80 kilowatts compared to a bit over 170 kilowatts. When I say it charged at 80 kilowatts, it'd have to be on a good day, battery would have to be pretty low, and then it would typically ramp down fairly quickly to about 50 kilowatts. As far as range of the car goes, no problems at all. We couldn't really use the entire range of Mum's Tesla, and you got to consider it's the shortest range Tesla you can buy. The estimate on the Tesla is super accurate, so you're never worried if you're going to make it or not. So that was, totally not an issue. The real world range of the MG was shorter than the Tesla. That wasn't as big an issue as the charging speed by far, although the range thing, the main advantage is it gives you more charging possibilities. If you want to get to a good charger, it's nice to be able to make it. And also too, having a bit more range so that you only have to charge to maximum 80% makes the charging and the trip quicker. From doing the trips we've done with the current infrastructure we've got, feel like 300 kilometers plus, probably 300 kilometers at 80% actually. So 360 Ks range is enough range to be able to do the trip easily and have a choice of where to charge and that sort of thing. Interestingly, the greatest distance between fast chargers on this trip is only 93 kilometres. So the other big difference, driving the Tesla over the MG is the Tesla Supercharger network. It is the only reliable, good EV charging network in the world. For a start, they don't just have one charger, which is a terrible idea in 2023, 2024, with the amount of EVs. Because if you just get one car turn up just before you do, you're going to have to wait. It's sort of like having one fuel bowser at a major petrol station. It's sort of ridiculous. So having 9 stalls, 12 stalls, I think 16 stalls now in Albury, that makes a big difference. Also, you can see how many are available as you're driving there in your Tesla. So that's super convenient. Not only do they have, a lot more charging points, but they're rarely down. They're rarely broken. Non-Tesla chargers do not have a good reputation of not being broken. The Chargefox ones in Goulburn are terrible for reliability. There's 4 there. Most of the time only 2 are working. And then that's got to service all the non-Tesla EVs around the whole area. And Teslas can use them too. They need to fix charger reliability and put a lot more plugs in. Tesla Superchargers charge fast. Even the V2s, the old ones, charge at 120 kilowatts, which is sort of the minimum standard, I think, these days. 50 kilowatt chargers. It's good to have some of them, but you also need much faster ones, 150, 350 kilowatt ones. The other thing with the supercharger network, it's all integrated to the car, so you can really easily see where the next supercharger is. The car knows where all the supercharger is, so we'll automatically reroute you. If you're not in a Tesla and you want to do a road trip, you have to have the plug share app. Otherwise, you're going to have a horrible time. And you have to do some research first to go, well, okay, I'm going here, so let's have a look at the chargers available here. You sort of need to do a lot more planning for the trip. In saying that, the plug share app is really good, and it's a great way of checking if the charger's working or if someone's charging there or not, if it's busy. People write down what sort of charge speed they're getting. Super useful, but it is a manual. You have to manually do it, and it's not integrated to the car. So also too, there's a lot more charger availability for Teslas, because all Teslas can use obviously the supercharger network and can all use the non-Tesla supercharger network or the third-party chargers. It's getting better though. Tesla are opening up a lot of their superchargers to non-Tesla EVs. One thing I noticed on this trip is how important it is where the charger is in relation to where you're stopping to have food. It's like at Holbrook, the supercharger's right near the RSL, and we didn't want to, I don't even know if it was open for breakfast, it might have been, but we didn't want to have breakfast at the RSL. We wanted to go up to the cafe, which was a 5-minute walk away. There's time spent doing that. I mean, it was fine. It's sort of nice to go for a walk after 3 hours or so of driving. If we'd stopped at Gundagai, all the food places are right there. Where the chargers are makes a big difference. So I guess I should sum up. Really happy with the performance of Mum's Model Y. And it's sort of cool to know that that sort of stuff is really easy now in an electric car. Every time we do that trip, it's easier and easier. There's more and more chargers. So in a Tesla, it's already easy. I know this video's been long and very nerdy statistical, which can be a bit boring, but I wanted to put all the details, one for my own interest, because I'm a nerd. I found it useful. I hope you found something useful in the video, and yeah, time to get back to getting some work done on my Land Rover, getting some Tesla parts in it, I reckon.